Check, 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 check. We may need to turn up that microphone. Maybe, 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 maybe. There we go. I guess first peoples have to join us, which so far they have not. Hey, Park Kingery's here. What's up, dude? Cool. People always seem to... Oh, I hate doing this. People always seem to complain about, audio not being loud enough, or having a tough time hearing me for one reason or another, whatever it may be, and I can never tell. I don't hear what you guys hear, so what are you working on? Hello. Park Kingery says he is just building pedals, so I'm curious to hear what pedals he's working on. Hyperfuzz, like the what is the Hyperfuzz? Is that the old Boss FZ something or other that I'm thinking of? FZ2, I think, as opposed to FZ3. I don't remember. But we all know I am far from the world's biggest fuzz aficionado. So, got it. Cool. Very cool. So, I'm gonna wait until we get a few more viewers in here, a few more people in the chat before I start talking about anything too deep. Anyway, yeah, I know bass players love those Boss fuzz pedals. So, for bass, I actually like my deluxe Big Muff Pie. Hey, Big Cole is here. What up, man? Joe Ennis is here. So, about we taking bets about how much longer Full Tone's going to be in business. There's a lot of people pissed off about that. A lot of people. Constable 1976, welcome. I mean, I'm getting a little bit later start at this than I normally would prefer, and I don't know how long I'm going to go today. but I was up until 6 o'clock this morning editing video, and got about 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and kind of wanted to go back to sleep, but decided that I probably should not. So I got up, got moving, and made something to eat, and here we are. William Cooper says, "Hey RGD, how you doing?" Doing good, sir. About yourself? Joe Ennis says, "Do you remember a phase linear?" I do not. Does not ring a bell. I'm assuming phase pedal. I'm assuming. I am not familiar with that. I don't know what it is. Mikey Gabbard says, "Anybody order any Squire Paranormal series yet?" Yeah, I just saw an ad or an email, or I don't remember what it was, but I just saw something about this for the first time the other day, and yeah, good on Fender for coming out with a more affordable version of those paranormal. The Fender Paranormals are what, $2,000 or something. Those are nice guitars. If you're into that kind of thing, they're a little weird for me, but people do love them. John McDonough says, "Hello, keep up the good work, pal." Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us. WB Berg 1 says, "I just bought a Fret King Ventura 60 getting shipped out this week. Any input on Green Label Fret King guitars?" I am not familiar with Fret King guitars at all. I've never heard of them, so I don't know anything about them. So therefore, we Google Fret King guitars. Popped right up. Pricey little bastards. $1,500 for a semi-hollow on Reverb anyway. What is this Les Paul Classic for $96? The top of the website says Guitar Shop. Yeah, that's got scam written all over it. Okay. Back to this Fret King thing. Let's check out their website. Fret-King. Website says the pinnacle of British guitar design. Black Label Art Series. Okay, so they've got some artists on the roster. Fret King. Abel Inglis, Adam Ward, Al and the Yeti Bones. I'm not familiar with any of these people or the bands they play in, but look pretty cool. Oh wait, this is just one page of their artists. They got there's a whole bunch of them. Still never heard of any of them. Not familiar with any of these folks. Look kind of like, Fender-ish, Gibson-ish kind of things. Interesting. Wonder what let's see what their prices are real quick. These Black Label guitars, let's check those out. They got 500 pounds, which translates to 500-600 pounds anyway, so it translates into probably about, what's that, 750 range or so US, if I had to guess. Look pretty sharp. Product line kind of looks similar to like the Hard Luck Kings stuff, but a little bit higher end. Not sure. Cool. Oh, let's see. Robert O'Brien says, I just got a Peavey B90 base made in the USA and Peavey Minx 110 USA amp. Surprised about the good sound from those late 80s Peaveys. What do you know about them? The Peavey instruments, I think, were widely overlooked by most everybody until Eddie Van Halen signed with them, and they came out with the Wolfgang. Prior to that, they've always made guitars, even American-made guitars. I'm told that they're getting ready to come back out with, they're bringing back the Wolfgang, but they're doing it with, they're obviously they're gonna have to rename it because Eddie owns the rights to Wolfgang name and everything. So I'm sure they're gonna have to rename it. But I'm told they're supposed to be coming back out with a USA version of that here. It's supposed to be this year, but I'm sure the coronavirus threw a monkey wrench and all that. Hopefully I can get a hold of one to demo on the channel for you guys, which is one of my goals. I'll touch on that here later on. But yeah, those honestly, I'll be honest though, the B90 and the Minx 110, I am not familiar with either of those models, but that, like you said, that old USA Peavey stuff is widely overlooked. So Ian Bunyan says, howdy Robert, I don't need a fuzz pedal. My old solid state Peavey sounds like a fuzz without any effects. You must have one of the Rage 158s or something. Or was it the Rage 150? Is that what they called it? I can't remember. Yeah, because Pepper's Pedals did a pedal version of that amp called it the Fury. I think called it the Fury 158. With all the PD graphics and stuff on it, and Peavey said that'll be the last that you do of those. And Park Henry actually has one. There was only like 50 of those pedals, and Park had one of those and let me borrow it to demo a while back. That thing was pretty cool. I don't know. It's not the kind of thing I would use all the time. It was a pretty neat little pedal. Mikey Gabbard says, I ordered the Supersonic. If you're referring to the Fender Supersonic, I think that was a very, very wise move of you. Because I love the Fender Supersonics. I'd love to have one of the Supersonic 100 heads. I don't know what I would do with it, but those things are pretty cool. I had an opportunity to buy the Marshall Mode 4 that I've wanted for a long time, and it was the best price I've ever seen on one, but I had to let it go just because we had too many other homeowner expenses come up here recently that I just couldn't. I had the money, I just couldn't justify dropping it. So at least just wrong timing. And it sucks too because I'm probably never going to see that deal again. But Charles Whitney says, hey Robert, I didn't realize you were such a fantastic guitarist. I love your reviews. I'm a total gearhead. Always have been. Your channel's right up my alley. Thanks for all you do. Thank you very much. You may be the first person that has ever said that I'm a fantastic guitarist. I probably shouldn't be revealing this, but if you watch, like all the videos I've done, like the last year and a half or so, that have a full track demo with a guitar solo in it. If you watch every one of those videos, the solos, all my solos are pretty much the same 4 or 5 licks, just in a different key in a different spot. So I don't consider myself to be a great guitar player at all, but thank you very much for saying so. Very, very, very kind of you. Bart Kinger says, how's the Chapman? You mean this guitar? Yeah. I'm actually editing the video on it today, so I like it. I like it a lot, actually. Quite a bit. So still trying to figure out what's going to be the best gauge strings to put on it. Did not like what came on it at all. It was just too heavy for my taste. But the guitar itself is fantastic. I was very, very pleased with the quality. Very pleased. So but you guys will see the video on that here in probably another couple weeks or so. Paul Sanders says, hi, I bought a 91 JCM 900 combo after watching your channel. Thank you for the advice. It really rocks. You are welcome, sir. I'm curious to know if you got the 112 or the 212 combo, and which version of the JCM 900 you got. If it's 91 and you bought a dual reverb, I'm almost willing to bet that might have still had EL34s in it like mine. So yeah, love the 900s. Blur is with us. Says, wow, caught a live stream. How's it going, Robert? Doing good, sir. Doing good. Thanks for joining us as we sit here and hang out and talk gear on a Saturday afternoon with the blinds closed behind me because I can't figure out the stupid exposure on my camera. And I don't want to blind you guys. Big Cole says, I've seen Crepe Blue Voodoo with a quad cab for $650. Is it worth the money? I sold my Blue Voodoo 120 with the matching 412 cab. Mine was the first year, the one with the cartoon logo. And really most of them are all about the same anyway. Up until like the last year or two when they moved production to China before they basically shut down altogether. But anyway, I sold my 120 watt head and 412 cab for $650. That said, I would not pay that much for it again. And not because it's anything bad about the amp. I've gone on and on how much I love the Crepe Blue Voodoo and how I wish I still had that amp, but they're just not worth that much anymore. If they were, I may have gotten lucky. So. Richard D. Little here says, hey boss, how you doing? Doing okay. Thanks for joining us, man. So curious what you thought about the pics of my BC Rich. Pretty cool. It was, I think I misunderstood you. I thought it was a weird custom shop. Something, thing I'd never heard of, but it looks like it was a mod project of some kind. But, still pretty cool. It's BC Rich. Anything BC Rich is cool, in my opinion. Owen Fell says, dubbed to PewDiePie. I don't know what that's referring to, but Steel Panther live tomorrow night. Watching or not? No, I love Steel Panther, but honestly, I don't even know where they going live on YouTube or something. My own channel takes up so much of my time. All of my spare time, which is any of the time that I have left, which basically is Sundays. Like tomorrow I gotta cut the grass. I got a bunch of yard work I gotta do. If I got any energy left after that, I'd like to go play golf, and fire up the grill tomorrow night. And beyond that, I just want to sit on the couch and veg and watch golf and play Mortal Kombat. I generally don't do much with. Even on Sundays, because I always have videos go live on Sundays, so I do still have to spend some time reading and responding to comments and stuff like that. So, and keeping a close eye, because I always get excited when a video takes off. Not that I expect that to happen for all of them or even most of them, but when it does happen, I want to be prepared. Constable 1976 says, I gave you a hard time about Daphne Blue, but didn't ask your opinion on Surf Green. I like Surf Green. Nothing wrong with Surf Green at all. Nothing wrong with Daphne Blue at all. I've never said anything negative about Daphne Blue. No, I like Daphne Blue. I like Surf Green. I like green in general. So, green's my favorite color. Robert O'Brien says, I got the pair for $140, $75 on the base, and the new strings. I said, wow, that's a good deal. Ken K says, anyone have any opinions on stainless steel frets or Jescar EVO gold frets? I'm leaning toward EVO. I'm not familiar with those. What I can tell you though is, most of my guitars have all had nickel frets on them. I think maybe just about every guitar I've ever had has had nickel frets on it, until I got my Majesty that has stainless steel frets. And if I can have stainless steel frets on every other guitar that I've ever that I have for the rest of my life, I'll be a real happy guy, because stainless steel frets are much harder, much more durable, and last a much longer, way longer than nickel will. Paul Sanders says, pay £200 for the JCM. Wow, yeah, you did all right. If you only paid £200 in it, translated to American dollars is about $275, I think, $275 maybe, not quite $3. But for a JCM 900 combo, that's a hell of a deal, even if it is a 112. Even better if it's a 212. Blur says, does Guitar Center sell returns and B stock as new from the factory? I got a Schecter C1 Elite Evil Twin that seemed to be a store demo or something, is why I'm asking you. Here's the thing with Guitar Center. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I encourage you, don't. If I'm not discouraging anybody to buy from Guitar Center. Everybody knows I'm an advocate for, a big advocate for Guitar Center. I buy most of my gear from Guitar Center still. But their technology is antiquated. It's old and needs it needs some work. So if the thing that, and I don't know why they won't fix this, but but for whatever reason they won't. When the website says in stock and ready to ship, that is usually true. The problem is they don't indicate where it is in stock. So it could be in their warehouse, in which case it should be brand new in a box. And if it's in the warehouse not labeled brand new in a box, then those units are otherwise identified as open box. But if it's it could be in stock, and they've got three of them left in the chain, and they're all hanging on a wall in a store somewhere. So if you order it, some stores will be, are pretty good about it. We'll give you a call, say, hey, this one's been hanging on the wall for a while. It's got some wear on it. Do you still want it? Others, are swimming and, everything else that they're swimming in. So they just, they box up and ship it out to you. So that's likely what happened is, they didn't have one at the warehouse. So, they sourced the order from the store. So my advice to everybody to avoid this problem: before you order anything online, call the 800 number and talk to somebody and let them actually take a look for it. Don't call the stores, because the stores can see inventory, but you know, you want to talk to somebody that's experienced and knows what to look for. So, you know, make a phone call to somebody within the organization that can look into it for you, and if it's in stock, find out where it's in stock. You know, and if we're talking about something like, you know, Artie Ball Super Slinkies or something like that, you're probably fine. You know, but any, you know, if you're major purchases, guitars, amps, and stuff, you know, that's probably the number one complaint that I hear. You know, it was supposed to be brand new, but you know, they received it, and it was either open box or out of box, or looked like it had been played or something like that, and you know, and I that is one thing that I really, really wish Guitar Center would fix, and they should have a long time ago. So, but I do happen to also have it on good authority that they are planning some software upgrades to some newer systems that hopefully will alleviate some of that, if not all of it. So I don't know when that's going to happen, but that's what I'm told. Mikey Garrett says, I appreciate Robert's playing. He's not just shredding every video to show off. I don't shred to show off because I'm a terrible shredder. Not a whole lot to show off. You know, but I do try to, you know, when I'm doing like pedal demos and stuff, you know, I do try to, I've tried to actually shorten down the playthrough demo portion of it. You know, where I sit there with just, you know, with just the guitar and the amp, the pedal, and, you know, twist knobs and stuff. You know, I'm trying to shorten that down quite a bit to get more, you know, just get to the damn point. You know, this is the range of this knob. This is the range of this knob. This knob does this. This knob does this. And stuff, you know, and then use the track demo to dial in an actual tone that, you know, that I would use in something that I would use in an actual application, you know, like a recording of some kind. So, and even then with the, you know, the full track demos, the video that I was up editing late last night, I used a track that I wrote for another video a little over a year ago, because it happens to be one of my favorite ones that I've written for, you know, all that stuff. And, you know, when I finally do find time to get around to recording this album that I want to record, that's definitely my first pick of the one that I want to go on it. So I recycled that into another video that I just recorded, but because it was a full track thing, it took a lot longer to edit. So I'm trying to shorten things down a little bit just to make it, you know, I mean, you guys, you know, I've seen enough people complain they don't care too much about the, you know, when it comes to checking out gear demos, you don't care too much about the, you know, the widdly wees and the, you know, the widdly doos and you know, all that kind of stuff. So, which is fine because, like I said, I'm not going to play that stuff anyway. Paul Sanders says 4101 4 EL34s. Good for you. 100 watts even. William Cooper says, RGD, can you recommend a good maker of some P90 pickups? Yeah, Gibson. Gibson's P90s are actually really good, as are Seymour Duncan. I've never messed with any of the Marzios, but a lot of people actually really seem to like the Duncan P rails that are basically P90s, but they got another little, you know, like rail connected to it that you can turn on or off to make it either humbucker or P90. A lot of people really like those. So yeah, I'd start there. Juha Leitonen has just subscribed. Thank you, Juha Leitonen. Welcome to the family. Anthony Baltusa says, hey Robert, what up? Just got here. Hope you and the family have been well. Thank you, sir. Same to you. Wow, we got like 34 people in here hanging out right now. That jumped up in a hurry. Thanks to all of you for hanging out. This is cool. Eddie C says, hey man, I got a Vester 2 concert series I'm too scared to attempt to fix. The pickup has come off on the baseplate. The baseplate? I just sold mine. I mean, aren't those, is that pickup, I'm assuming you're talking about the bridge pickup, in which case isn't it mounted, I can't remember if it's hard mounted in or if it's mounted with a pickup ring. It's mounted with a picker. Well, either way, you know, if the I'm not real sure what the concern is. You know, either way, you just screw it down. But you know, if it's come loose because the hole has been widened out too much and the screw won't grab, cut up a pickup or a toothpick. Cut up a toothpick, break it up, and shove it down there, and that'll add the wood back into it that you need so that the screw will have something to bite onto. You know, that's a pretty common fix for like strap buttons and stuff, but I use that for, you know, basically anywhere on a guitar that happens. As a matter of fact, I also used that same trick on my dishwasher a few weeks ago. Charles Whitney says, so I'm not sure I want the review, but your opinion counts. What's your opinion of Fender's Hot Rod Deluxe? I've owned one for over 12 years and still don't know what to think of it. Great clean channel. Great, you know, really good for running distortion pedals and stuff into. Matter of fact, Brian Wampler uses a Hot Rod. I can't remember if it's a Deluxe or DeVille, but has used, maybe it's probably still uses sometimes that clean channel to demo a lot of the pedals on his channel. The gain channel could use a little work, particularly on like the second generation. It improved a little bit on the third gens. I haven't heard the fourth generation that's out now. I have not heard those yet. So if you've had yours for 12 years, yours is probably a second gen. I said it's okay, you know. I mean, I've heard worse distortions than that, but you know, a drive channel on amp, you know, a combo amp like that needed some work, which is why they've updated it twice since then. But clean channel on it's great. Joe Ennis says, do you know Pignose Tiny Amp are still around? I have no idea, to be honest. No idea. Let's consult the interwebs, shall we? Oh, come on. A lot of places still got them listed. 7-1 still listed on Amazon, Sweetwater Guitar Center, Musician's Friend, several places, several models on Guitar Center's website. Pignoseamps.com. Still up and running, so I'm going to venture to say yes. They are still around. YouTuber says, "What's up, Robert and all? How are you? Welcome to you." Richard D. Little says, "I picked up the Lee Hale Explorer, was pleasantly surprised. It rocks." Did you get the Epiphone or the Gibson? They didn't make too many, or I think they discontinued the Gibson version already. Not because it didn't, there wasn't anything wrong with it. I think it's, I think it was like $2,500 or something like that, which is a lot of money for an Explorer. Even if it's got Lizzie's name on it. We got here Big Cole up in the top chat. Thank you, brother. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Much appreciated. Constable 1976 says, I was thinking of swapping Seymour Duncan SSL1s for the Antiquity Surf pickups in my Made in Mexico strat. Thoughts? The Antiquities are, I mean, those are custom shop pickups. So, in a Made in Mexico, in a Mexican strat, I mean, that's kind of the cool thing about the Mexican strats is, they're, basically mod machines. I don't know that you could find a stock in the used market anywhere anymore. uh, that was all bone stock. So, I've always really liked the SSL ones. I mean, I would never, if you already have those, I'm not sure I would put spend a bunch of time and effort into changing them. But if you're not happy with them, the Antiquities would likely be an upgrade. I mean, they'll, price-wise, they're definitely gonna be an upgrade. Sound-wise, I don't know, man. I'm of the opinion Seymour Duncan doesn't make a bad pickup. So. Big Cole says, I got some Picker's Grip and a T-shirt. Oh, did you get one of the Picker's Grip T-shirts? He actually sells pretty nice T-shirts. He sent me a couple of them now, and they're not the El Cheapo Hanes Fruit of the Loom crap T-shirts. They're he does it right, man. He spends the money on the good ones. So. Paul Von Tyron says, sometimes open box can be a good thing, say $1,500 on ESP George Lynch Skull and Snakes model. Yes, and it certainly can be, but what he was referring to earlier, is buying something that is not labeled as as an open box. If it's labeled, if it's listed as an open box model and you bought it, didn't know it was an open box model, that's on you. If it's not listed as an open box model, that's a little bit different story, and that's what I was referring to earlier. Eddie C. going back to his Vester Concert 2 Series guitar. Pickup rings the neck. I just opened it. Looks like my friend maybe fixed it and never told me. Just needs the screws. Yeah, there you go. Easy enough. That's a $4 purchase, or probably less than that if you go to the hardware store. Doc Amos Roxy says, by the way, bought that Joyo boost you demoed, the Wild Boost. That's a pretty cool pedal. I should probably mess around with boost pedals more than I do, but I like that pedal. For some reason, sometimes I just struggle with recording overdrives. I demo them all the time, but it's kind of a 50-50 shot how it's going to sound when it comes out. Boost pedals just seem to work much better for what I do in my limited recording skills. Jack Rosas said, Robert, why does the Fender starts from the 50s worth big money now? Think you just look like the new ones. They do. It's it's collectability. That's what the vintage market's all about. It's about rarity and supply and demand, and collectability and the history behind it. Those old Strats from the 50s and 60s. Particularly the 57. Being the big money year in the 50s, and I think it was a 62 from the 60s is the big money year from that era. Yeah, there's not very many of them out there. They don't come up for sale very often. There's just one of the most iconic guitars out there. The Strat came out in 54, but 57 was when it really gained popularity, and Fender sold a lot of them that year, more than they ever had anyway. and you know, of course, they changed a few specs slightly, you know, from every year on down. I mean, they're all worth a lot of money. We sold when I was at the store, we had what year was it? It was either 56 or 58. It was 1 year off. I can't remember which direction. I think it was a 58 Strat, and I think, if memory serves, we sold that one for 30 grand and got every dime quickly. um, you know, and it was a case queen. You know, this guy had it. This guy was easily, you know, probably in his 50s, and you know, 50s, maybe even close to 60, and he'd had it since he was a teenager. And I think he was the original owner on it, and he was, you know, the whole time, I'll never forget, you know, we had to take it into the office to evaluate it and take pictures and send them off to Hollywood and all that kind of stuff, you know, going through the protocols. And he was standing right outside that office door, pacing back and forth. He did not go straight any farther than about 8 feet from that door. He wanted that guitar, you know, within eye shot, in his visibility at all times. And you know, we ended up buying it from him, and you know, a collector saw it and grabbed it and found a new home. That guitar played like utter dog shit, by the way. Epiphone, Richard D. Little says, actually, I'll come back to that. Darren Broxton says, greetings from the UK. Greetings from the US, Darren. Welcome to you. Thanks for hanging out. Richard D. Little says, Epiphone came with a cool case too, heck of a deal. He's talking about the Lizzie Hale. Yeah, all the, seems like all Epiphones, I think all their Signature Series guitars, and you know, a lot of their signature artists right now are newer, younger artists that I'm not all that familiar with. But Lizzie, I'm actually I'm a fan of Hailstorm. So, but yeah, all the signature guitars seem to be coming with hard shell cases. So, you know, and they have been for a long time. You know, all those signature guitars in the $800 to $1,000 range, the vast majority of them come with a hard shell case. So, yeah, Epiphone's doing that right, and those you know, consistency, build quality, consistency on those guitars is also I'm out of coffee. It's also really, really good. So. Alex 2112, one so static. I don't know if I'm reading that right or not. Allen Aviation, welcome to all of you. Michael D is here. Allen Aviation says, Robert, any interest in reviewing HM Strat reissue? I have an old one, so I watched a few of the reviews. Yeah, I would love to. You know, the problem is they were a limited run. I think they've already all sold out. You know, I don't think anybody has any of them left. That is the drawback. So, they all sold pretty quick. And I wish they would just add the stupid things back into their regular production line, but no such luck. You know, I either wish that they had done. Actually, I really kind of wish that they hadn't brought them back out, because as soon as they did, the value of the old ones skyrocketed, and that's, you know, I've always wanted one of the old ones. The new ones, honestly, everything I've read on them, they seem spec-wise like they're all pretty close. So I don't know that they've changed a whole lot on the new ones versus the old ones. Yeah, I'd love to demo one, but you know, and I try to do demos, not reviews. You know, there is a difference. I'd love to demo one on the channel. I'm actually, you know, one of my goals this year is I really want to get back to demoing guitars a lot more than I have, and not you know, and I don't want to get away from demoing pedals, but You know, pedal demos are, they're cool because they're not quick and easy, but I've done so many of them now, got them down to a science for the most part. But I would really like to be able to get back to demoing more guitars. So I'm reaching out to some guitar companies with that information to see if any of them are interested. I haven't heard anything yet. So for those of you out there that would like to see a guitar demo, something specific, or even a specific brand, if it might help, I don't know if it will or not, but maybe you guys reach out to them yourself and say that you would love to see their guitars demoed on Robert's Guitar Dungeon on YouTube, and maybe we can all make it happen together. So, like I said, I'm 99.999% sure that the Fender has already shipped out all the HM Strat reissues, and they're not gonna make any more of them. So. And that's the kind of thing, Fender's they don't need anybody to demo that guitar. Just, that's one of those things that has been popular. The old ones have been popular for a while. All they got to do is announce that they're coming out, and, they're going to sell like crazy, which they did. So. Park Kingery says, I only get signature models of players that really influenced me. I currently have a Dave Murray Strat, best Strat I've ever owned or played, and a Tony Iommi EPSG blackout version. I'm kind of I go both ways on signature guitars. I own not too many. I guess I got 3 of them. Maybe 4. I've got the Zakk Wylde Vertigo Les Paul. I got 5. Music Man Majesty, which is a Petrucci. 6. 2 Dimebag guitars. Paul Stanley. The Joey Jordison Warlock. So, but I don't necessarily buy them because of whose name's on them. I buy them because I think the guitars are cool. Particularly, Music Man could completely remove John Petrucci's name from the Majesty, and I would still think it was the greatest guitar in the world. As much as I love John Petrucci, my fandom for John Petrucci or for Dream Theater or anything like that has absolutely nothing to do with my love for that guitar. One So Static says, I think the old lawsuit vintage guitars don't get the praise they deserve, Antoria, etc. Not familiar with that one, but the 70s were like the lawsuit era for a lot of things. Ibanez in particular, Ibanez, Takamine, Yamaha. They were all copying. They were all copying. Basically, pretty much Fender and Gibson all over the place. You're right. There was a stretch there back in the 70s and 80s. Particularly the 70s. Brands like Ibanez and Bernie and Greco and Tokai. Those companies were all making Les Pauls way better than Gibson was. Jimmy Biter says, suckers, HM $1,200 with a Floyd special, no thanks. I don't know if this, is it a Floyd Rose special? I thought it was at least like a 1,000 or something. I know it's not the original, but I thought it was a higher end Floyd Rose in the special. I don't understand why people complain about the import Floyd Rose models anyway. I've owned them all, and I've never had a single problem with any one of them. I've yet to wear any of them out. You know, oh, Floyd Rose Special sucks. Licensed Floyd Rose suck. You know, I've had my Aria Pro 2 since 1992. It's got a licensed Floyd Rose on it, and it's never had one single problem with it. No, I've never had a single problem with any of them. So, Anthony Baltusa says, I haven't been seeing any recent videos from you lately. Anybody else have this problem, or have you been on vacation? Me? No, I've been posting videos every Wednesday and Sunday like I always do. Sounds like YouTube may have done the YouTube thing and quit sending you the alerts. But yep, no, they've gone up. Same, 9 a.m. Eastern time, twice a week like they always have. Parking area says maybe Guitar Center will let you borrow some. No, they won't. No, they will not. Kim's Workshop is here. Welcome to you. Doc Ames Roxy says kind of like the Q&A, Saturdays only. Saturdays when I have time, and I debated whether or not I should do it today, to be honest, because I've still got another video to edit, 2 of them to upload, and 2 more videos that I've got to go back and for 2 demos on a pedal that I've been working on for a company for months now, because it's very, very in-depth. It's just been difficult. But I got a couple of things I got to fine-tune those before they're finally ready to go up. And so, like I said, I debated whether or not I would do a live stream today, and decided to at the last minute, because I want to be done with everything, preferably well before I go to sleep tonight. Like I said, I don't like editing video stuff and all the stuff that I got to do to bleed over into my Sundays. That's my day. So yeah, it's there's no. A lot of people have asked me for this. They keep. A lot of people said they want me to schedule it and make the announcement, all that kind of stuff, that I'm going to go live, and a couple things. Number one, anytime that I announce I'm going to be going live, less people show up to hang out. And number two, I just can't commit to that. So I just can't commit to it. Sometimes I have time for it, and sometimes I don't. One so Static says, I have to admit, never having a signature or anything, I prefer my guitar, not someone else's. A lot of people feel that way. Nothing wrong with that. Floyd Rose. Paul Von Tyrant says, are the Floyd Rose specials really that bad? I never owned one, but have 2 guitars with original Floyd Roses, and I love them. No, they're not that bad. Just like anything else, if you take care of them, they work just fine. Richard D. Little says, I want a Zach Wild so bad. A year ago, you could find them at a decent price. Now they're so hard to find unless you want to pay $1,500 or $2,000. If you're talking about the Les Pauls, the customs, I don't know that I've ever seen one under, well, I don't know. I was going to say I don't know that I've ever seen one under $2,000, but there was one, when I was at the store, there was one time that we bought one, and I paid like $250 or $300 for it, and we sold it for $8. And the reason why is because this thing looked like it had been stored at the bottom of a retention pond, and I knew the guy that was selling it to us real well. You know, and when he bought it, it was already pretty banged up, and he banged it up even more and quickly. You know, so I told him, I said, I'm not giving you a lot for this thing because I don't know how much I'm going to get. I'm going to try to get 800 for it, and you know, and roll the dice. But you know, it could very well be that I get 5 if I'm lucky, because I mean, it was that banged up. Like I said, it looked like it had been stored in the bottom of a retention pond. But beyond that, I don't know I can ever think of seeing a Zach Wild go for less than $2,000, and that's when they were selling new for 4. Then they went up to 5, and you couldn't find one for under 3. The Vertigos were affordable there for a while. Then, you know, those are actually worth more than they were new now. So I got lucky with that guitar. Not that I plan on getting rid of it, but because I don't. Been thinking of selling my Matt Heafy Snowfall, but they're sold out everywhere, and it just looks, plays, and sounds so good. Another one of those epic artist guitars. Yep. The Snowfalls are pretty cool. Again, very consistent build quality. They make those pretty well. Emmett Caldwell says, "Hey brother, do you like Jazzmaster or Mustangs or either?" I'm not much of a Fender guy. You know, I like Strats. You know, I honestly, I really wish I had a good solid Strat laying around. You know, there's my dog going nuts downstairs. Zoe, come here. Hey. You know, I really would wish I had a nice Strat laying. It doesn't even need to be an American, but you know, like one of the Mexican deluxes that sell for $800 or $900 or something like that. Just a good solid Strat laying around. That, you know, because I've actually never owned one. But you know, I do like Strats. I really like the way Strats sound. I don't. You know, I'm not a Tully guy. Jags are okay. Jags are kind of cool. Jazzmaster, or you know, kind of lukewarm. I mean, they're just not my thing. You know, they're just offsets are just not my thing. They're getting real popular again right now for some reason, and which Fender's making a killing on them, but yeah, one of these days. Sean is Cubs fan 1 up in the top chat says, "Hi Robert, have you tried the Marshall Studio Class 20? Any thoughts on swapping a 57 Classic for Duncan Distortion? Cheers from Chicago." Marshall Studio Classic 20. I have not. That is the new, I guess about a year old now, I think, but I think that's the 20 watt plexi head that they came out with. It's, you know, they're 20 watts, and what are they, about $1,500 or something like that. You know, Marshall finally came out with a small studio version of those, you know, gargantuan, 100 watt heads that are so ungodly loud. I have not personally plugged into them, but I know a few people that have, and and I've heard enough demos on them. They're pretty awesome. The JCM 800, I think that's the SC20. Or no, the Studio Classic, that's the SC20. The JCM 800 is, I've already forgotten it. What the actual model name of that one is. But as much as that's the one that I would probably gun for, because I've always, you guys know how much I love the JCM 800. As far as swapping 57 Classic for a Duncan Distortion, that sounds like you were going into a Gibson. And Gibson, if it's the older, the 2-conductor style 57 Classics, with the nickel cover, I would have a tough time wanting to swap those out. Because I think that is a really, really good sounding pickup. And also, when it comes to Gibsons, I try to leave them, for the most part anyway, leave them as authentic as I can. My SG is an exception. That one I've swapped out quite a bit on it, but just because that was a gift, and I never really liked the pickups in that one. But when I did change the pickups in it, though, I did still go with other Gibson pickups. So, if it were me, I would have a tough time doing so. The other thing that that you got to consider is 57 Classic is a really moderate output pickup, and the Duncan Distortion is a really high output pickup. So, those two are not even remotely close to sounding the same at all. So depending on what guitar you're putting it in, if it's a Les Paul or an SG or something like that, if you're wanting to increase the output, the distortion will do it. Doc Amos Roxy says, I'm a 30-plus year acoustic only player, just started the electric gig a few years ago, and I was totally unprepared for tone search. Ours been overwhelming, so guys like you doing vids really help. Well, thank you. I can't speak for everybody, but I have always enjoyed, sharing, whatever info or whatever knowledge that I have on, just talking about guitar gear. I certainly don't claim to know. I certainly don't claim to know anything or everything about anything with in this business. But I am certainly always happy to share what I do. Share what I do know, even if it's wrong. Anthony Baltusa says, I unsubscribed and resubscribed, hoping that'll fix it. I found that sometimes even just reselecting the bell icon may fix it as well. Uh-oh. Stand by. Hey, babe.
Hi, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Why? Oh, I know. Yep. Oh, I'm sorry. I slept late, and now I am at my computer, actually in the middle of my live stream. So we're, huh? Because my wife was calling me. Okay, bye. I love you. You okay? You okay? Okay. Okay. So that was my wife checking on me. I usually text her and check on her, make sure she's doing okay by now. And I forgot to do that today, so she was calling to make sure that I was okay, since she is at work. Hold tight here one moment. Let me finish texting. I will be right back with her. Right back with you guys. Sorry about that. Oh, well, let's see. Where was I? Doc Amos Roxy. Your comment. Yeah, if you've been in the acoustic thing and all of a sudden you jump over to electric after 30 years, the tone search, you're right, can be absolutely overwhelming. I don't know that my videos are gonna help or point anybody in the right direction, but that's the good thing about guitar tone. That is the very good thing about guitar tone, is everybody has their own. Jack Rosa says, I love signature guitars. I have the Paul Stanley Gibson Les Paul custom. I didn't know Paul Stanley had a signature Les Paul. Interesting. Anybody else practicing while watching? I am not. One So Static says, hey Rob, just personal question. What's your favorite beer? I have actually not had a drink in over 22 years as of a couple of weeks ago. So my favorite beer is none, and that is Getting sober was the best thing that I ever did. Robert Bryan says, hello, hope you're well. Just strung my split top tuners and it came up perfectly. My first time, happy camper. Cool. Sounds like a Fender. Though I guess I could very well be any number. It could be just about anything out there. 40 was watching and only 15 thumbs up. That's a lot of people overlook the thumbs up button. I don't, I certainly wish more people would hit the thumbs up button. Or the thumbs down, as YouTube actually views those the same. But I watch videos from other people on YouTube, and half the time I forget to hit the thumbs up button. One So Static says, what's the best guitar in your collection right now? Music Man Majesty. Just recorded another video with it this week. I have, I guess I've had it almost 2 years now, I guess. Most money I've ever paid for a guitar. And it was worth every single penny. I would do it again in a heartbeat. Absolutely would do it again in a heartbeat. So they are, that's definitely my best guitar. And not the guitar I've always wanted, but that is the best guitar I own or have ever owned. So, which is why I use it on my channel as often as I do. Abdullah Al-Sultan says, do you have a Peavey 6505 Plus, and do you think it would sound good in a small room? I do have a Peavey 6505 Plus. I happen to have the 60 watt 112 combo, and I happen to use mine in a 12 by 13 bedroom fairly often, and seems to do the job. So, yes, I do. If you really want to crank it, you may need an attenuator, but I can keep mine. There is a sweet spot. There is a sweet. You probably use it at full tilt. If you try to keep the volume down too low, there's a certain spot on the volume control, particularly on the drive channel, that once you go below that, you hear the entire tone just total lose all of its balls. So there is a sweet spot. But I'm also fortunate to live and own my own home. I don't share any walls with any neighbors or anything, and I usually, when I turn that amp on, I usually try to do it at a time when my wife's not home. So, pardon me. Studio. Solar Angel says, hi Robert, new sub. Welcome to you. Welcome to the family. Shawnee's Cups Fan 1, who had asked a question about the Studio Classic 20, said that is, now I remember correctly, the SC20 is the JCM 800 head, which is what you were asking me about. The SL20 is the Plexi, is the one I thought it was, I think. And then there's also the Jubilee, which has been out for a few years at this point. But yeah, no, it's everything that I've heard. I haven't gotten to plug one in myself yet, but everything else that I've heard, it's a JCM 800. Just not loud enough to blow your head off. Though 20 watts still get pretty loud. So yeah, I want one. I want one pretty badly. DJ Calvi, I think I'm pronouncing that right, says, I'm looking for a chorus pedal, Petrucci, Dreamscape, or something else cheaper for metal. Thanks. This Digitech Lux, not made anymore, so you're going to have to search the used market, but Prior to this, I used a Boss CE5 chorus ensemble that Boss still makes. That pedal's been in production forever. I had one of those on my board for 15 years, and I still have it, and I do still love the chorus ensemble. But when I got that one about 3 years ago, I have been, that became my new favorite chorus pedal. That was a Tom Cram design when he was still at Digitech. And it is a fantastic, simplistic two-knob design. You know, he did a fantastic job on that. So for a chorus for metal or anything for that matter, you know, I mean, chorus doesn't really, you know, lend itself, you know, modulation effects in general don't really lend itself to specific genres, at least in my opinion. So if it's chorus, I would say track down a used Digitech Lux, which I imagine you can probably find for about 50 or 60 bucks. Being a relatively new, Anthony Baltusa says, being a relatively new player, Floyd Roses seem complicated. Not that I'm even ready for one yet. You know, it's not that, they're really not that complicated. I mean, the science behind them is actually pretty simple. It's just really, really precise when it comes to setting them up yourself. And I don't think that anybody is, you know, unless you are brand spanking new and you're doing your own string changes and stuff like that. You know, the first time that you sit down to restring or set up Floyd Rose, locking tremolo guitar like that, you're probably going to fail. You're probably going to fail, and when you're done, it's either going to be sitting all the way on the bridge or it's going to be sitting sky high in the air, and you're going to get frustrated and not know how to fix it. But you know, it did take me a long time to learn how to set them up myself, just because that very scenario that I just described kept happening over and over and over again. But I finally figured it out. Tony Ramsey. I watched him set up a number of them, and you know, I would stand over him and watch him do it, and you know, and asked a few questions, and you know, he finally explained it to me in a way that everything just finally clicked and made sense, and I've been doing most of them myself ever since. So, pardon me. But you know, the one advantage they do lend to new players is tuning stability. So, you know, if you want a guitar that, you know, that stays in tune really, really well, that is definitely the way to go. But you know, there just doesn't seem to be anything that you can read or anything that you can watch or anything that can, you know, that will tell you the best way to set up a Floyd Rose. I mean, it's one of those things you just got to learn just by doing it and messing it up and having somebody else show you how to fix it. That's the only way that I found. That's the only way I learned. Sam Wilkes, thank you, sir. Says, been a fan for a while now, love the content. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with us here on this lovely Saturday afternoon here in the Midwest. Shawnee is Cubs fan 1. This goes back to the question that he asked earlier in the Super Chat. Says I'd be putting onto a Les Paul Traditional Pro 3. Regarding pulling out the 57 Classic, that's the 4-conductor version, because all the Trad Pros have the coil splitting and all that kind of stuff. You know, the wiring on the inside of those things is a rat's nest. So if you're wanting to keep the coil taps and the phase switching and all that stuff in place, you know, then I mean, it's definitely going to increase the definitely going to be a much hotter pickup, and you know, you got to be talking about the bridge pickup in that instance. So it's definitely going to make it and going to give you a lot more output. So, and I'm pretty sure the distortion is a 4-conductor pickup, so you can still wire it for all that stuff that the 57 Classic is currently doing. So, Richard D. Little says, Robert, what's a good interface to start with, PreSonus or Mac or Windows? As far as Mac or Windows goes, that's your own personal preference. I mean, I'm a PC guy, because the thing with Windows is to get caught up. You go and you buy the iMac, and you start using Logic and all, and you're doing stuff with your iPhone, your iPad. I mean, their own, the Apple infrastructure, particularly for music, is really, really good. Problem is they lock you in. And, if you ever need to do anything outside of that, there's a lot of stuff that is not compatible with Apple products. So even, I'm a long-time iPhone user, and I still use iTunes and stuff for listening to music. But when it comes to recording, I want all the flexibility that I can get, and I don't want to be locked in by the software companies, which is what so many of them are doing nowadays. So to answer your question, this will work with either if you go Mac or PC. Like I said, I'm a PC user, and this was the interface that I used for a long, long time. This is a Focusrite 2i2. This is the second generation, which is, they just came out with third gen. It's out now. Excellent little interface, particularly for guitar players. It's got two inputs on it, and when, for a guitar player, especially if you're just recording at home, how many more are you going to need? Good preamps on it and everything, and they are $159 brand new, and they're also USB powered. You don't have to worry about an external power supply. You just plug it into your computer and USB powers it, and you're all set. So very simple to use. I mean, just plug it in, it just works. So very, very, that's probably the best way to go for starting out. Now, I recently upgraded to, the last 4 or 5 months, I upgraded to the 18i20, which is the big one in that line. And the reason why I did that, and I talked about this in a video here fairly recently, is because I've got my Laney IRT Studio here in the sidecar that I use quite a bit. I'm going to be adding a bass preamp that's going to go in there at some point. I've got my 2 notes captor that I use for, if I want to pull, one of my 20-watt heads or something out here and record directly with it. The captors out there. I've got the DI box that I use for recording bass. I've got this thing plugged into it a lot of times, as well as a few other things here and there that, so the 2i2, the limit I found was I was constantly having to unplug stuff and plug other stuff back into it and reconfigure. So I went with a big one just because it had more inputs and allowed me to just leave it set up, leave them all set up where they are, without having to go back in and reconfigure everything every single time I need to record a new guitar part or something like that. But starting out, 2i2 absolutely the way to go. It's the best-selling interface in the world on the market today. That's the good news. The bad news is right now with the pandemic going on and everybody being stuck at home in the house for the last 2 months, recording gear has suddenly become the toilet paper of the MI industry. And the 2i2s especially, the 2i2s, the Solo, which is the model right beneath it, and the 4i4 I think is the model right above it, those three, you can't find them anywhere. They're sold out everywhere. The company I work for, we get them back in and they're gone. There's, I looked the other day, I think we had over 1,000 back orders for the 2i2 just the other day. So, you just can't, so if you're going to get one, that's the way to go. But right now, you're just going to have to be patient if that's the one that you want. So. Kim's workshop says, oh, the wife is angry. No, she wasn't angry. She was just checking on me. So she was just checking on me because I had not yet checked on her today. She was not angry. She hung up with me as quick as she did when I told her I was doing this live stream. And then she texted me right after that and said, go back and do your live stream. Sorry to interrupt. So, which she, how would she know what I was doing? So, no, she wasn't mad. Let's see. Let me get caught up here in the chat. You guys have been asking questions and stuff here in the chat while I've been yammering on. about whatever it is I've been yammering on about. So give me a minute to get caught up. Dave Severs is here. Hey, what's going on, man? I demoed a custom guitar, that Dave built. God, 3-4 years ago now. Yeah, I don't need. I don't even know if you're still building guitars or not. Press Maxon on that thing. I don't know if I think he may. I don't know if he still has it or not either. That's been a long time now. Okay, let's see. Ace Frehley Les Paul. That's a different story. That's actually one of the coolest Les Paul signatures that's out there. I think. I love the Ace Frehley model. Any of them. But particularly the older one. The older three pickup ones. That had the space. His face paint Space Man logo on the headstock. Mm. Anthony Baltusa says, "What's the most you would ever pay for a guitar? $1,000 would be my max." Depends on the guitar, really. I mean, I'm not the kind of guy that's going to overpay for anything, but I've always wanted a Gibson Les Paul Custom. Always wanted a Gibson Les Paul Custom. I've never. Every time I've gotten close to being able to afford one, something happens and something gets in the way, or I end up needing something else, and then the money has to go towards that. And it's just that guitar has eluded me my entire life. But that one nowadays, if I found the right one on the used market, I would probably be willing to pay up to $3,000 on it. Just depending on. I couldn't just buy any other guitar that would be worth more than that. But I don't. You never know. With guitars, you just never know because I could say that now, but tomorrow I can go find some weird oddball thing that I've never seen before in a shop and play it and absolutely have the most awe-inspiring guitar playing experience I've ever had, and next thing I know, I'm putting my house up for sale just to be able to afford it. So you just never know. Typically, though, when I'm buying guitars, it's there's usually I'm usually buying it for a reason. Like the Chapman that just finally arrived. I've been waiting on forever. I bought that because I didn't have a baritone. I needed a baritone. I needed something that could go down to that lower tuning, and I didn't want a 7-string. So that's the reason why I bought it. It's not a. I didn't pay a lot of money for it. But I got a good deal on it. And, it honestly was worth every penny of what I paid. So, hey, David Gabe is here. Says, "Yo, what Dungeon Dwellers? What's up, David?" Sam O'Shea says, "I heard I can buy guinea pig fur-lined G-string." No. Sean O'Shea is one of those people. So, let's see here. What do these 3 dots here do? Nothing. Oh, I forgot. I'm in the... I don't have anybody moderating, unfortunately. So, yeah, it looks like he appears to be gone. So, I'm not going to worry about it. I'll go back and find him and block him later. David says, "How you liking the Chapper's baritone, dude?" Quite a bit. I was saying earlier, I'm actually really, really impressed with the build quality on it. Very, very well made guitar. I was very pleasantly surprised. I had some concerns just because of some other quality issues I've heard some other people complain about, but I found none of it. None of it. Excellent fretwork. Um, I don't want to say too much about it because it's going to sound like I'm repeating myself when you guys see the video come out here in a couple of weeks. But I'm very happy with it. It'll be around for a while. Mm. Traded in like an so great enough. Abdul Al Sultan, I'm sorry, says I want a comparison. They look great. They look sick. Comparisons are cool, man. I got to get my hands on one once upon a time, and they're cool. They're cool. I demoed it on my. It was an older model that they don't make anymore. Called the what the hell's that thing called? Oh man, I can't remember. It looked like it'd been discontinued for a while. I remember having a tough time finding some info on it, but um, it was a great guitar. Very, I mean, they're very ESP. Nowadays there's a few things that are different. Now they do more of the like the multi-scale stuff, and their pickups are a lot of their models are in there kind of at a real sharp angle, as opposed to perpendicular to the strings. Um, of course, really, really pointy headstocks. But yeah, they're awesome, man. I like comparisons guitars quite a bit. But they're expensive. They're real expensive. But there is a reason why Courtney Cox from the Iron Maidens is that's all she plays now is our comparison guitars. She is a comparison guitar endorsing artist. Um, And I know that because when I did that video several months back about the greatest female guitar players out there, or at least that were my favorites, I made mention of her, and somebody told her about it, and she got wind, watched the video, and commented, and we shared, commented a few times back and forth, and that's one thing she said was nowadays it's all because I know she was playing Charvels and stuff. Once upon a time, but nowadays it's all comparison guitars and Friedman amps. So, mm, you guys are still talking amongst yourselves. Kim's Workshop says Texas of New Mexico, Arizona, question mark after all that. I'm not sure what that refers to. That must be part of you guys' conversation amongst yourselves. Anthony Baltusa says, in a world of negativity and insanity, this is a nice break. Everyone here rocks. I agree. Kind of another reason why I wanted to get on here and just hang for a while and just talk gear. When you run a YouTube channel, you got to, unfortunately, a fair amount of your time also goes into Facebook and, various other different forms of social media, and you can't open up any single one of those without being greeted by bad news of some kind. And guys, I'm just tired of it. Just tired of it, man. Just tired of it. This whole Mike Fulton thing, or Mike Fuller, whatever the dude's dude from Full Tone, whatever that dude's name is, Mike Fuller. Yeah. Dude's certainly entitled to his opinion, but I don't know that I would have been that desperate to share it, because that may cost him his business. There's a lot of people pissed at that dude. Pardon me. Sorry about that. I said I was up till 6 a.m. this morning editing video. David Gabe says best introductory DAW for PC would be Mixcraft or Reaper as far as easing, I'm assuming it says easing into it. I've never used Mixcraft. Reaper is especially popular. Reaper's free. Or you pay the $60 thing to make the stupid thing, stupid reminder thing shut off, quit reminding you every time that you log into it, I guess. But yeah, there's a lot of pro studios that are using Reaper. I like Studio One. I've been pretty happy with that lately. So I didn't, I loved Pro Tools. I loved using Pro Tools, but Avid had to go and be dicks about my subscription. And I decided I didn't want them to have any more money. So they didn't get any more money from me. Oh, and the chat did that stupid thing where it jumps all the way down, and I'm liable to miss over a lot of this stuff. If you guys have asked me something and I skipped over it, put it back in the chat again, and I'll find it. Apollo. Anthony Albaltusa says, us married guys know when the boss calls, you answer. Absolutely right. Yep, when she calls, we answer. Rich is here. Says, good day there, Robert. Good day there, Rich. Welcome to you. Dave Seaver says, I made 5 guitars total so far. Slow going. Okay. Is that something? I know it's never kind of been a full-time thing. I guess it was my understanding was just something that you did kind of on the side, a hobby. But the one I played, you built it well, and it was unique. It was one of the most unique guitars I've ever played. James all gears. Hadley Scott McIntyre says you need to record your diddlies and listen back. Oh man, dude, somebody commented on what was it? It was the video that my Schecter, my green Schecter, the CR6. I did 2 videos on that guitar. The first one was just a kind of an unboxing and a quick, once over kind of thing. And then I did another one that was more of a full demo with a full track demo. Somebody commented on that thing today. This morning I saw it when I woke up, and said, enjoyed the track and, enjoyed the content, enjoyed the track as well. And I'm going, okay, cool, thanks, and I didn't remember what I had recorded. So I went back and watched it, and I got about halfway through that, and I'm not, it was very, very kind of him to be, to compliment that at all. But I'm really surprised that he did, because I'm looking back, I listened to about half of it and I can't believe that I actually put that in a video. It was so terrible. Not necessarily just record. There's so much stuff. I was struggling with staying in time, with keeping time in a few spots, because I, like an idiot, I chose some more complicated drum patterns and stuff to play some relatively complex arpeggiated stuff too, and guys, it was a bad track. I can't believe, I can't believe that I actually put it in the video, but a mistake or two here and there is never a big deal to me. Just that's one of those things that's, when you can hear airplanes and stuff flying overhead on Zeppelin 2. So a mishap here and there, it kind of gives a recording character, but that one of mine was, I guess it's just saying something, means that I've learned a thing or two since then, and I'm, maybe my recording skills are coming along, if that's no longer acceptable to me. But God, that was terrible. I'm still shaking my head at it. Ace Triple X Oasis says I came in and realized he was vaping. Yes, I vape on during live streams. I don't vape during videos, but I do vape on during. I vape and drink coffee and Diet Pepsi today, and I haven't eaten my breakfast during a live stream or anything like that, but I do vape. Okay, that Ace Les Paul is a signature model I would like to have. I guess I just contradict myself. That's the thing, man, with signature models. I don't. People out there say, I don't want to. I hate signature models. I don't want anything out there with another, somebody else's name on it. That's great. Let's not pretend like, there's, most people out there. They may not want. They may not like the fact that somebody else's name is on it, but that doesn't mean that we don't think there's a lot of really cool signature guitars out there, and let's not also forget, plenty of people modify their guitars in the exact same way that Eddie Van Halen did or Zakk Wylde did or whatever, and a lot of people's modifications are in fact inspired by signature guitars. So I there are a lot of people out there that feel, they don't like signature guitars, but S-Fear6 says, hey Robert, since you made a demo on Joyo pedal, are you going to demo soon the Bantamp series, Jackman 2 or Zombie 2? I'm told I have a Jackman coming to me at some point. I don't know if that's the original or the Jackman 2. My understanding was it was just the regular Jackman, but I don't know. I've communicated with Joyo about that a few times, and he keeps telling me he's going to check on it and tell me where it is. We all thought it was sent out already, but I guess not. So he keeps telling me he's going to check on it, and then I never figure out where it is. So, at this point, they may show up, they may not. I don't know. I mean, those are the two models. The two models that you mentioned, the Jackman and the Zombie. Those are the ones I'm most interested in demoing. The Meteor probably being right behind it. But yeah, we'll see. We will see. I've still got 2 Joyo. I got a pedal and a little practice amp of theirs that I still have to demo from the last batch of stuff that they sent me. So I don't want to do, 4 weeks in a row of nothing solid Joyo demos. You guys are going to get real bored of that real quick, and you guys are going to quit watching my channel if you start seeing nothing but Joyo demos for a month or two on end. But I'm just about through everything that I have right now. I'm saving the best pedal that I have for last. At least I'm assuming it's going to be this. Ace Triple X Oasis says, I just got a Blue Voodoo and I know you love them. Any tips? Depends on which one. Which one you got and what area you got. If you got the 120 like I had, crank it, man. Just crank it. I kept the reverb about between 2 and 3 on usually on that one on the gain channel. I kept the reverb at about 2 or 3 for just a little bit of ambience and maybe a little bit higher for the clean channel. So for what that's worth, I never once bothered plugging anything, running anything direct into the effect loop. I mean, the Blue Voodoos I always thought sounded great. So really don't need a distortion pedal with them at all. Ken Reeves says, I'm a new subscriber. I would like a 1 or 2 word opinion on the Boss Katana Mark II 50 watt. Great amps, man. Great amps. I've been getting, a lot of people have asked me about this quite a bit lately. what's your thoughts on the Katana 50 or the Katana 100? And you know, the story behind the Katanas is kind of interesting because they're, you know, Boss put them out just because they just wanted something in that modeling amp arena. You know, they just wanted something in there to say that they can compete with the you know, the Line 6s and the Peavey Vipers and the Fender Mustangs and all that other stuff that's, you know, that's out there. You know, they just wanted their name in there. That's all they wanted. And then next thing they know, they sold out of everything worldwide, and, you know, production fell way behind because all of a sudden they became the best-selling modeling amp on the planet. Even though whether or not it's actually a modeling amp is kind of debatable, but that's, you know, on the surface that's pretty much what it is. And all of a sudden they became some of the most popular amps out there. The Mark IIs, you know, they made some improvements on. You know, what's unique about those is unlike like the Line 6 Spiders, for example. Most of the Line 6 Spiders, I don't know about the 5s, the current version of those that's out right now, but the Line 6 Spiders are notorious for not taking pedals well at all. You know, that's the case with most modeling amps. But Boss designed theirs, of course, being a pedal company. They design their amp to make sure that it takes pedals, and not just Boss pedals, but all pedals, just about, really, really well. So yeah, if you're gonna buy, if you're looking to buy a modeling amp, digital modeling amp of some kind, honestly, I don't know why you would buy anything but a Katana. Pardon me. Joel Bateman says, "Hi, fellow musicians." Hi, Joel Bateman. Welcome to you. David Clay says, "Thoughts on Boss MT2W?" One of my all-time favorite distortion pedals, actually. A viewer named Alan Shearer, who Alan doesn't seem to comment on quite as many of my videos, but you know, I'm pretty sure he's still, you know, he's still pretty firm, strong supporter of the channel. Just up and sent me one. I'd mentioned that I really wanted to get my hands on one of those because I've always loved the Metal Zone. I grew up with one, and you know, so I've always had a soft spot in my heart for the Metal Zone. And then Boss announced they came out with the Wazacraft version, and I really lost my mind. And he sent me one. Matter of fact, it's sitting up here on the shelf right above me right now. And yeah, I love that pedal. Absolutely killer, particularly the custom mode, man. That thing sounds like high gain amp. It doesn't sound like a pedal. No, Boss got that one right. Boss get a lot of things right. I mean, I'm a huge Boss fanatic. You guys know that. But you know, the MT2W is absolutely badass. Sudian says, "Thanks for the stream, Robert. Nice to see what people are up to." My pleasure. My pleasure. It is, wow, almost an hour and 45 minutes we've been going here. So, this has been a good live stream, though. You know, you guys are awful chatty. It's always, you know, these are always fun for me when you guys are chatty in the comments, and I've got, you know, it gives me stuff to talk about. So when you guys aren't chatting in the comments, then it gets pretty boring. Big Cole says, "Have you seen the Zakk Wylde Barbarian?" I have not. What the hell is a Zakk Wylde Barbarian? Is it a Wild Audio guitar? Oh yeah, that's the SG model. The Wild Audio stuff. There's a DH gate. Well, it looks like a fake one for $300. And the rest of them are about right around $1,200. Yeah, cool guitar. The Wild Audio guitars, I've played a few of them, and I mean they're made by Schecter, or in the Schecter factory anyway, licensed by Schecter. They seem to be, I mean, they all seem to be, as well made as any other Schecter out there. I've not found any quality control issues with them or anything. The ones I've got my hands on, but the necks on them are pretty fat. They've got some if you don't like big fat necks, that might not be the guitar brand for you. So Michael D says maybe you and I should start a good news only network. Oh, it'd be great, but unfortunately the problem with that is good news doesn't sell. Bad news sells. Bad news sells. People love negativity. I made a joke video about the worst, the top 8 worst production guitars ever, and the entire purpose of me making that video, by the way, was specifically so I could crack the joke on the reverse flying V. That was my only motivation behind making it. I just wanted to crack the joke on the reverse flying V, and that was the way to. That was the best way I could think of to make it happen. So I came up with a list of 7 other guitars that I hate, and stupid arbitrary reasons why I hate them, just to piss people off. And that video went on to become my most popular video. Matter of fact, the algorithm just spiked on that video again a couple of weeks ago. It's now almost at 1 million views. It could very well be at 1 million views here by within the next couple of weeks. So, unfortunately, bad news sells. Bad news sells. Anytime I put up a worst of video, they always take off. They always take off. People hate my guts over the Fuzz Factory video. People hate my guts over the Metal Muff video. And those are videos I think are funny, but they piss a lot of people off. Let's see. Anthony Beltusa says guitar stores are like strip clubs. They're always one you want to take home, but the wife will kill you. I don't know. I can't think of anything I would find a strip club that I want to bring home. I've actually never been to a strip club. Not my thing. Sitting around a stage, with a bunch of dudes, who all have serious hard-ons, raging hard-ons going at that very moment is not a very, it just doesn't seem like a real good time to me. I don't get the traction. But what do you do? None of your business. So I have a Mesa Mark IV, and was just curious if you would use all 6L6s or half 6L6s and the L34s. The self-biasing amp, you could put both in there. It's kind of like the Road King, dual rectifier Road King, where you can throw basically whatever you want in it. That's one of those things you just have to experiment with it. Get half. Honestly, I would get half a dozen of each, or 4 of each, I guess. I don't know. What is that? 4 power tubes, I guess it has. So I would get a full set of each and just play with different combinations and different slots. Till you get the best, the best sound to your ear. I don't think there's any right or wrong answer. 6L6s have their strengths, so do EL34s. They just have to be opposite ends of the EQ spectrum. Metal Strummer 2004 says, why do you hate rat pedals? I no longer hate rat pedals, believe it or not. But the reason I did for so long is because they kind of walked that line between, between fuzz and high end, really trebly, really nasty distortion. As Zoe goes crazy about. Is there somebody out there? Yeah, somebody walking by the house. And that those two areas that the rat pedals kind of walk the line between. I never really cared for either one of them. The combination of the two, I thought, just made it worse. But for whatever reason, I got a bug up my ass about a year and a half or 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, I guess it was, and bought the Electro-Harmonix flat iron fuzz, which is a rat clone, and thought that pedal, I demoed it, and that pedal's absolutely awesome. So, it kind of had me rethinking my position and on rat pedals altogether, thinking maybe I should give them another shot. Matter of fact, just recently, Forgotten Gems of the Past video, I did one on the Rat Roadkill pedal from the 90s, and in that video I actually shot out the Roadkill, the Rat 2, the current version, and the Electro-Harmonix flat iron fuzz. So so yeah, I am, and as I mentioned in that video, I am somewhat of a rat convert. Zoe, come here. Zoe, come here. Here she comes. Come here, Zoe. There she is. Come here. What are you making all that noise about? Come here. Oh, come here. Come here. Yeah. Say hi to everybody. And say hi to everybody in the interwebs. Yep, you just got groomed the other day, so you are presentable. You are presentable for it. To say hi to everybody. Now that you look all pretty again, still licking everything. You get your teeth cleaned this week, so that your breath doesn't smell so damn bad anymore. But yep. So for those of you that might be new here, this is Zoe. She's my best friend. Yep. She's my best friend, and it's her job to tell us anytime that there is somebody walking on the sidewalk outside the house, or a bird flying by, and anything in between. And also when the neighbors, like close their, shut their car doors and stuff, and she can hear it. So it is her job to tell us anytime anything like that is going on. Hey, Dan Kish is here. Says, good afternoon, Robert. Hope you're having a good Saturday. I am having a pretty good Saturday so far. Still got quite a bit on my plate that I got to take care of, but once I'm done here hanging out with you guys. Oh, come on. There we go. S-Fear6 says, always looking forward to your demo of some Joyo brands. Keep on rocking and vaping. You guys seem to like the fact that I use an e-cig. Okay, you went down. All right. There you go. Now that I'm covered in white dog hair. Hey, Geargasms. Alan Barnes is here. What's up, dude? I didn't know you popped in. Yeah, by the way, Alan put up go check out Alan's channel, Geargasms. By the way, he put up a video yesterday of the truth about the new Positive Grid Spark combo amps. He paid money for his. He didn't get a free one from from Spark, so his is an unbiased opinion. And it's actually a very informative video. TND Fam says, what was that Chapman model behind you, Robert? That is an ML1 baritone that we were talking about earlier. And you will see, if you follow my channel, you will see a video on it here in the coming weeks. As soon as I'm done here with this live stream, I am going to edit it right away. Anthony Baltusa said, when are you going to do another Know Your Troll video? I have to say, those are my favorite. This week, as a matter of fact. Gotta give it time, enough of the troll comments to pile up to where, make it an entertaining video. So, yep, I'm going to do another one of those this week. Hey, Ken Reeves. Thank you, brother. Thank you very, very much. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Joel Bateman says new PC Rich start at $1,400. They do. They're a little pricey, but they seem to be pretty. There's I guess a few minor, little things, like some inconsistency with binding and stuff like that. That's that's to be expected on an import guitar, because I think they're all made in Korea and being made in a Korean factory. But they're pretty cool. Matter of fact, I really want a Shredzilla. But I want one with. I think they make the Shredzilla with Fishman's and Fishman's and an Evertune. Those are two things that I have not yet gotten. I don't own either of those, and I really want to try them. So I think they make the Shredzilla with both of those. That's the one that I want. Parking Rees, Wild Audio still in business. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They sure are. It's got Zach Wild's name. They're not going anywhere. Jack Rosa says, Robert, I like that cool Marshall amp that you have in the background. Thank you. It's a JCM 900. I love that amp. MP2 just subscribed. Welcome, MP2. I don't know if you subscribed from I don't know if you're watching the live stream or not, or if you just subscribed after a video, but when so static was the definition of perfect pitch, banjo thrown into the dumpster at 30 yards. What do you call a studio engineer in a suit? Defended. What do you call a drummer without a girlfriend? Homeless. Yeah, we all know that. How do you get a bass player off your front porch? Pay him for the pizza. I don't think Alan stirred the pot in that video at all. I think he was brutally honest, and I think he spent his own money on it. And waited, let him take his money 6 months before they shipped the stupid thing. I don't think he was, stir the pot at all. I think he was, just sharing his honest experience with, the whole Positive Grid, with Positive Grid, the company, as well as, the base, the not the amp that he paid for, and it took him 6 months to ship to him after they'd already taken his money. So, no, I don't think I was meant to stir the pot. I think he was just being honest. So, there's a fine line there. It takes balls to be honest like that, man. You generally don't, if a company does send you something like that to demo, I mean, you generally don't want to do a video shitting all over it. That's not you. In that instance, the right thing to do is just to box it back up and send it back to them. If you do, if you're not going to be able to do do anything positive that's going to help benefit, help benefit the company. That's the whole purpose they send it to you in the first place. It's marketing for them. So, if you're not going to be able to say anything, or if you are going to, the only things that you have to say are going to hinder that, I mean, the right thing to do is not do the video at all and box up and send it back. But he spent his own money on it. That's a different story. So, Jack Rosa says, Robert, I got one of your cool t-shirts. I will be buying a second one soon. Thank you, sir. For anybody else, by the way, if you are looking for a way to support the channel and would like to get a little something back from your support, I do have a Teespring shop, and you can actually find the links to it and some of the listings there underneath pretty much all of my videos. So, if you guys want to treat yourself to a t-shirt, and I do need to go in and update the shop, by the way. There's some redundancy. There's a couple of things in there that shouldn't be in there, and I need to add some new t-shirt designs and stuff. So I'm hoping to get caught up on stuff here that I can get that taken care of in the next few weeks with any luck. So, but your support is greatly appreciated if you do want to treat yourselves to a t-shirt or 2 or 3 or 10. Park Kingery says, I guess what I meant is he stirred up a lot of people with his honesty. Well, hey, just like Henning Pauly says, don't want me to say something, if you don't want me to say anything bad about your product, don't make something that sucks, and Alan was very clear in that video. What there is about it that he didn't like, and that lag switching back and forth between between game stages and stuff, that is freaking annoying. That would drive me crazy. So, but yeah, you guys are right. Hopefully, I'm kind of hoping Glenn Fricker gets his hands on one, because I want to see, I want to see if Glenn Fricker takes a sledgehammer to it or not. I'd be curious to see about that. Partially just because I like it when Glenn Fricker takes a sledgehammer to amplifiers. So I like honest reviews. We all like honest reviewers. And the truth is, I don't think that there's really anybody that demos guitar gear on YouTube. I don't think any of them are dishonest. If there are things, that if somebody sends Henning Pauly or Phil McKnight, they send them a pedal, there's something about that they don't like. I point it out, they would say it done. Matter of fact, I just, the Joyo pedal that I did a video on this week, there's something, the atmosphere. Doesn't have stereo outputs. I really wish it had stereo outputs on it, but it doesn't. It's only got one. So, and I mentioned that, but But even if I hadn't, if I had kept that thought to myself, I mean, that doesn't mean I'm being dishonest about it. So, I can't think of a single instance I've seen anybody do a demo of anything and, say this is the greatest piece of gear ever, and, and be absolutely clear that they were lying through their teeth just because they wanted to get paid. I mean, most of the people on YouTube are, pretty good people, dude. I mean, there's not anybody that's trying to oh shit, I lost my light. Oh well. I don't think there's anybody trying to dick companies out of their money. Oh, Glenn did do a video on it. Okay, I'll have to go see that. Larry H says, okay, serious question, Robert. Who shaves your head? I can't do mine myself. I leave hair patches. Yeah, I do, even though I haven't done it in, 4 or 5 days or so now, which is, why I got the damn near the full beard thing going on. And I work from home permanently now, so, I shave pretty much whenever I feel like it. But yep, no, I do it myself. Gillette Fusion. Anthony Baltuzza says, why are my favorite guitar YouTubers bald? I hate the term YouTubers. I prefer YouTube creators. That said, why are all your favorite ones bald? Start your own channel one day and you will soon find out. Gargoyle 84 says, what's your favorite humbucker? Seymour Duncan JB model. No question. All right, guys. We are over 2 hours here, so thank you so much for coming to hang out. I got to get rolling. Like I said, I got some other things I got to take care of here this afternoon. And Mrs. Jackson is going to be home here in about an hour or so. So I got to hop to it. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your afternoon to come hang out with me. Like I said, these are always a lot of fun for me. I'm hoping that we can get to the point that we can, these live streams get 400 or 500 people in them, like some of the other guys that are out there. But in the meantime, those of you that always do seem to come and hang out, it's always a great time. So. Thanks again for hanging out. Thanks again for your support of the channel. Always much, much appreciated. Adios. See you later. Bye.